Okay, so today we are having a look at the latest free aircraft to appear in the marketplace for Microsoft Flight Simulator. This is the D77TC Pelican. D stands for dropship, I believe. TC is troop carrier. So this is from the Halo first-person shooter universe, and you can see it's now appeared in Flight Simulator. So obviously they're gearing up for some kind of Halo release, I imagine. But I thought we'd just have a play with it. So we're going to go and jump inside the cockpit, and it's very well modelled. You know, everything looks very, very cool. I'm just going to have a look at the throttles. So I've got them set. Okay, we ought not to do that until we've started the engines properly. So press Control E. Again, there's no point doing any kind of proper startup sequence for this thing because it's an invented spaceship really from an arcade game. So we'll see how we get on with it. So if we have a close look around outside, this is the rear wheels fold up into the body. Obviously the rear end here is supposed to open up a bit like a Hercules, I guess. There seems to be an awful lot of body that's not used here. So quite how that works, I'm not sure. Obviously there are rails here to carry weaponry, which we don't have. We'll wait for the engines to get up and running. Okay, so you can see the engines are slowly coming up. It's doing engine 1, 2, 3 and 4. You do get some control over the screens. So you get a radar map of where you are. You get this synth or synthetic vision, I guess that means, and cam vision, which becomes available once we take off. On the radar map you get some various options to see things like weather, terrain, waypoints if you've got any. I don't think any of the buttons work around the edge of the screens, which is a shame. Hardly any of the switches do anything. One or two of the buttons work kind of to a fashion, which I guess they simulate doing various things. But yeah, it's quite cool. Should we see if we can wander around? I'm not sure that we can actually open the back, or if there are any controls for that. I very much doubt it. Obviously this would be where you would have rifles and all kinds of stores in the actual Halo version of this. So we have got control over comm frequencies and nav frequencies here, so I guess that's simulating that we're getting a signal. We've got wing lights, strobe lights, beacon lights, taxi lights. So if we go and have a look outside at those, it's not too much sign of them being there. There's obviously some lights here. Got the nose light there. Looks pretty mean, doesn't it? Okay, so what I've figured out from looking at the controls, if we go and jump across, I'm going to go and switch my control configuration over to use the F-18 because I know I've configured that to do what I want to do here. So I'm just jumping across the control configurations. As I've said before, I just wish that this was a drop down. It would save a lot of time. There we go, F-18, apply, go back, resume. Okay, so I am going to take off just by pushing the throttles forwards. So I'm going to gently move them forwards, and you'll see what happens. We'll do this from outside actually. So let's zoom out a little bit. So we're going to... Yeah, you can see very quickly when we get to about 50% throttle, it gets enough thrust to take off, and then it suddenly leaps into the air in a very, very unrealistic fashion. So we have got thrust coming out of these, look like kind of some sort of ion engines. They're front and back, you can see them. So if we modify the time so we can see things lighting up a bit more. There we go. So you can now see those lights from those engines a bit more easily. Okay, so the more we push the throttles, the more we go up. Okay, so 50% seems to make us hover, and then we can use the stick or the rudder to turn us. We can put the gear up. The flaps and spoilers don't appear to do anything. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, well, how do we go along? You use the afterburner key and it switches you. So at the moment, if we press forwards, we can do translations essentially. So we can translate ourselves around. So if we lower ourselves back down, we can see that happen. So I'm just dropping us back to the ground. And bounce off the floor. So it does have momentum. It's worth pointing out. Okay, so let's put the sunshine back in place. So back on real time on the weather, so we get some shadows. Okay. So if we press forwards, we're just basically translating. Yeah. So we can go sideways as well. And we can rotate. But what if we want to actually fly and use those wings as wings? So let's go back inside. We'll get a little bit of height before we do this. So what you do is you press the afterburner button and it suddenly translates into forward flight. So there we go. So if I press F, so now we have this slightly bizarre aircraft that doesn't like going too fast. So we get these warnings all the time. But we can pretty much fly this as we would a normal aircraft. It's not the fastest thing in the world. And obviously there's no physics really involved, it's just made up. But you can fly it around and have fun with it. So it's using those translation thrusters all the time. So to switch back from flying mode to hovering mode, you just press the afterburner button again and it rights itself the moment you do that. So I'll just show you that. So if I'm tipped over and so we're tipped over and I'm going to press the button and you can see it automatically rights itself and it will glide to a stop. And then obviously we can translate across and go land somewhere. So just to show you this, we saw that there was a synthetic vision. That's kind of your forward view in case you can't see anything out the front. And then you've got the cam vision. So this gives us like a downward view of the approaching area, so we can land accurately. So we could translate over, rotate as we go, and come down, put the gear down while we're on our way. And as we come down, obviously we can scoot around the cockpit to a certain extent, just as you can normally in flight sim. So we could line ourselves up neatly. So there you go. The D77TC dropship, or Pelican, from the Halo universe, It's a free download in the marketplace for Flight Simulator, and it's kind of fun to fly, but I think it's a real shame that you can't see inside the cockpit, for example. It would be nice to see what's going on inside there. And yeah, it's a shame they haven't really gone to town with letting us fire anything or open the back up, anything like that. So I presume you can't open the back. I haven't seen controls for it. So obviously there's a keypad here for frequencies, auto bank VS up, auto throttle, flight level change. So it's got all the normal. This is the Flight Sim G1000 controls basically, isn't it? They've kind of hidden them. We've got a mirror of the same controls over there. But yeah, there's a lot of buttons and switches you would hope would be here, and they're not. So there's trims and things. There's nothing overhead worth looking at. But anyway, yeah, this is the Pelican. Obviously, look, once we're landed, the downward facing camera doesn't work, so synthetic vision will work. I don't think there's much else to say about it. It's good fun. It's a free download. It's pretty worth having a play with if you're bored one day. But I can't think there's much to do with it really, though, because there's no troops to load or offload. There's no missions to complete with it. You can just have a fly around with it. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Hopefully that was fun, and go download it and have a play.